clear. Unpacking a fresh pack of pens, never willing to accept sincere. She's loved in many channels, every gay chant on nights and black blue lights. Heaven help them when she recites. Mysterious life, girl got skills. She moves in space with minimum waste and maximum joy. Makeshift desk and a cat that bites. When you see her coming, take your pills. No place for snowflakes or sensitive hearts. When sentiment is left to chance, she'll send you back to your start. We all know it, she's a smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Toast to toast, sometimes switches to crumpet, bends them to jail. Across social media, buy memberships for bail. Verse by verse, exploring the text. She reads and recites, not knowing the tongue, learning every step of the way. Melts all your memories and feeds you facts. Her zeal is like fire, but her heart is of gold. We all know it, she's a smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Toast to toast, sometimes switch to crumpet, bends them to jail. Across social media, buy memberships for bail. Smooth moderator. 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 Ooh, moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator.
Exploring consciousness. What does it mean? Looking up definitions, watching narratives fall apart at the seams. From the realm of the dead, stumbling through fractured reality. Truth is a needle in a haystack, wondering what happened to me. Exploring happiness. What does it mean? Looking up definitions, watching narratives fall apart at the seams. Was it all a bad dream? What on earth could have happened to me? Truth is a needle in a haystack. Discern fake from reality. Time lost, pitch black, dopamine hits, think thinking slow and fast. Watch a narrative fall apart at the seams. Waking up, waking up. Watch a narrative fall apart at the seams. Waking up, waking up. Waking up. Waking up. Waking
Hello and good evening, whoever's lurking, listening, loving, hating. Welcome to this Thursday's exploration. Now, I've got a new topic that I'm just trying to find some content for now, something that we could watch together. It's a new topic, but before we do go into that, I would like to say that it was a couple of weeks before last week that I found out that I wouldn't be able to do last week, and I forgot about mentioning it in the live streams prior to that. So I do apologize about that. But yeah, that's why I wasn't here last week. And I might not be here next week either. And hopefully that's the only Thursdays that I'll miss. So let me have a look if I got my information. There's a couple of videos. We might actually have time to fit them both in. So I'm going to go with one of them. Hang on. No. Yeah, we'll go with a different one that I was going to start with, and then we'll have a look at the other one. Right, okay. So without further ado, tonight's topic is collagen. What do we really know? So, yeah, I take collagen powder. I've been told that collagen is in the gristle in meats, and it's in the knuckles around the bones and stuff like that. All those bits that you can eat, but obviously they're not as nice textured as the meat. But when cooked, you know, they're a bit softer and they're a bit easier to chomp through, and they are full of collagen, so I'm told. So I want to explore this in depth, and there was someone who asked me if I would cover the topic of collagen because of their dog, I think it was. She was, I think she's got a supplement, like give her dog collagen. She's not sure if she's given the right amount or not. And she basically like the facts aside from what the vet's telling her to do. So yeah, why not? Let's have a look at collagen. So this video that I've got, we've heard from this doctor before. Was it the last time when we looked at 3 videos on vitamin D versus hormone D, what do we really know topic on that exploration. So I've got a video from her again. Let me bring that up. Screen share screen. All right. Bring that on the stage. I shall make that bigger. There you go. And I shall make it bigger again. Yes. You know, when you think you've got too many tabs open and things start to go slow, I hope that's not going to happen here. Right. So this one is called, Do Collagen Supplements Actually Work? Here's what the research says. Oh, yeah. And she is called, I'll be putting the link to all of the sources that I look at as per in the description of the live stream, so you can go and have a look at it yourself as well. Hilary Lynn, MD. Please subscribe to our channel. Check out some of our content. Give it a like, leave a comment, and all the rest of it. Yeah, so anyway, this one is about 35 minutes long, and then I've got another video that we might get around to beginning with. Hopefully all of them, both of them, but yeah, it depends on how much time we've got. So let's get cracking.
Here's a billion-dollar question. Why do we see celebrities, influencers, and even some doctors stirring collagen powder into their coffee every morning? Just look at this marine collagen product I found. $360 for a 4-month supply, promising everything from better skin and nails to improved mental clarity and athletic performance. The marketing is compelling, but as a Stanford-trained physician specializing in longevity medicine, I need to tell you what the science actually says. Did you know that humans produce about 3 grams of collagen every day naturally? That's more than what's in most supplement servings. But here's the real kicker. When you consume collagen protein, your body doesn't just shuttle it straight to your facial wrinkles. In fact, what happens to that expensive collagen powder is probably not what you'd expect at all. In today's episode, I'm going to break down why that $360 bag might as well be a regular protein powder, the surprising truth about what's actually breaking down collagen in your skin. Hint, it's not just aging. And most importantly, the evidence-based approaches that really work, some of which cost virtually nothing. So whether you're in your 20s just starting to think about skin aging or in your 50s looking for what actually works, this episode will completely transform how you think about collagen and skin health. And stay with me till the end because I'll be giving you scientifically backed practical protocols that you can try. Before we dive into the world of expensive supplements and beauty claims, let's get clear on what we're actually talking about. As a physician, I find that understanding the basics changes everything about how we approach skin health. Collagen isn't just one thing. Think of it as a family of proteins with at least 28 different members. Your body is actually a master architect using different types of collagen like various building materials in a sophisticated construction project. Type 1 collagen, which makes up about 90% of the collagen in your skin, is like the steel beams in a skyscraper. It provides that fundamental structure that keeps everything strong and supported. Type 3 is like the more flexible reinforcement bars, giving your skin its youthful bounce and resilience. This is where things get interesting and where many beauty companies hope you don't look too closely. When scientists talk about collagen peptides in research studies, they're referring to something very specific. These aren't just random protein fragments. They're precisely sized pieces, usually between 3,000 to 6,000 Daltons. Imagine taking a long rope and cutting it into sections that are exactly the right length to be useful. Too long and they can't get through your intestinal wall. Too short and they lose their special signaling properties. The most effective collagen peptides contain specific sequences with rather technical names like prolyl hydroxyproline or ProHIP and hydroxyprolyl glycine or HIP-GLY. Yes, these names are a mouthful, but you can think of them as tiny molecular messages that can actually wake up your skin's collagen-producing cells, called fibroblasts, and get them back to work. Fun fact, this is what we're talking about with all peptides. Peptides are just short proteins that have special signaling properties, tells your cells to do specific things. So this is crucial context for understanding why that $360 marine collagen powder I mentioned might not be the miracle worker it claims to be. Unless it specifies exactly which peptides are present and in what concentrations, you're essentially buying very expensive protein powder. It would be like paying premium prices for a special building material without knowing if it's actually the right type for your construction project. But before we talk about supplements, we need to understand something even more fundamental: how your body actually handles protein digestion, because this is where the whole beauty from within story gets really interesting. Let's talk about what happens when you stir that expensive collagen powder into your morning coffee. And I promise this is not going to be a dry biochemistry lecture like from med school. It's actually a fascinating process that explains why we need to rethink our whole approach to collagen supplementation. When any protein enters your digestive system, whether it's from $360 marine collagen supplements or from your morning scrambled eggs, your body treats it essentially the same way. Your stomach will release hydrochloric acid and enzymes called peptidases that start breaking down these proteins into smaller and smaller pieces. Think of it as a highly efficient recycling plant. Everything gets broken down into its basic components before it can get reused. By the time these proteins reach your small intestine, they've been dismantled into individual amino acids and some small peptide sequences. Your body doesn't maintain a special VIP lane for expensive collagen peptides. They all go through the same process. This is where many beauty companies' marketing claims start to unravel. But it gets even more interesting. Some research suggests that certain small collagen peptides, remember our friends, the ProHip and the HipGlag, might actually survive this digestive gauntlet intact. So these specific peptides appear to have a unique ability to send signals to your skin cells. It's like they carry a tiny molecular message that says, hey, let's make more collagen. But, and this is a crucial but, this only happens with very specific peptide sequences at very specific sizes. It's not enough to just have any broken down collagen. This is why when we look at successful clinical studies, they use precisely engineered collagen peptides, not just any hydrolyzed collagen powder. The real question becomes, even if these special peptides make it through digestion, are they the most efficient way to support your skin's collagen production? Because here's what many people don't realize. Your body is already an expert at producing collagen. It's doing it right now as we speak. The key isn't necessarily giving it more collagen peptides to work with. It's about providing the right environmental conditions and raw materials for optimal collagen synthesis. This brings us to the most crucial part of the conversation. What does your body actually need to produce healthy collagen? I find the precise science of collagen production fascinating. It's like discovering the exact recipe for youthful skin where every ingredient matters and the cooking conditions have to be just right. So this is Michelin star cooking. Let's start with the ingredient vitamin C, because this is where many people get misled by supplement marketing. You've probably seen those 1,000 milligram vitamin C supplements promising glowing skin. But the fascinating thing is clinical research shows we just need 75 to 110 milligrams daily for optimal collagen synthesis. Too little vitamin C, under 10 milligrams, and your collagen production grinds to a halt. We learned this from historical studies of scurvy. But megadoses, they're like trying to speed up your morning commute by hiring 5 different drivers for your car. You only need one. What's really interesting is what's happening at the cellular level. So when researchers exposed human skin fibroblasts, these are your collagen producing cells, to vitamin C concentrations of about 70.6 milligrams per liter, so precise, they saw something remarkable. These cells dramatically increase their production of type 1 and type 4 collagen. It's like giving your skin's construction crew the exact right tools they need. No more, no less. Now let's talk about the unsung heroes of collagen production, copper and zinc. The science here is also incredibly precise. Studies show that copper concentrations between 15.6 to 100 micromolar are optimal for collagen cross-linking. Think of copper as the molecular stapler that holds your collagen fibers together. Too little and you'll get loose pages, too much and you're damaging the paper. The sweet spot around 31.2 micromolar is where researchers saw the highest collagen production. Zinc is equally fascinating. Clinical trials show that just 9 milligrams daily can significantly increase what we call P1NP. This is a marker that tells us your skin is actively building new collagen. Lab studies showed that zinc at concentrations of 10 to the power of -5 molar actually increases the expression of genes responsible for collagen production. It's like turning up the volume on your skin's collagen building playlist. But here's where it gets potentially concerning. Your skin's ability to produce collagen is constantly under assault from 3 major enemies, and the science behind each is mind-blowing. First, we have UV radiation. Recent studies have uncovered not one, but multiple ways UV light sabotages your collagen. It activates proteins called matrix metalloproteinases that chew up existing collagen while simultaneously shutting down the genetic machinery responsible for making new collagen through something called the TGF-beta SMAD pathway. Even more fascinating, this damage continues for hours after sun exposure. It's like having tiny molecular scissors continuing to cut up your skin support structure long after you've left the beach. The blood sugar connection is equally compelling. Research shows that when your hemoglobin A1C rises above 8.5%, it triggers a process called glycation. Picture pouring maple syrup over a brand new leather couch. That's essentially what high blood sugar does to your collagen fibers. So studies comparing diabetic patients with different levels of blood sugar control found dramatically different levels of collagen damage, with those maintaining an A1C below 8.5% showing significantly better collagen structure. As a quick note, I recommend people try to get their A1C far below 8.5%. For my patients in my longevity clinic, we're aiming for optimal levels around that 5.1 to 5.3%. Of course, if you're dealing with diabetes or pre-diabetes, it's going to be a lot harder and you're going to want to work with your healthcare professional. Now, let's talk about what might be the most fascinating part of the collagen story: how stress affects your skin at the molecular level. We all know that stress ages us, and what I'm about to explain really changed how I think about stress management and skin health. Research has revealed something remarkable. Cortisol, our primary stress hormone, doesn't just make you feel tense. It literally reprograms your skin cells' collagen production. So it's like having a sophisticated manufacturing plant where someone suddenly cuts the power to half the assembly lines. Through what we call the glucocorticoid receptor signaling pathway, cortisol effectively tells specific genes to stop producing collagen. The science here is very precise, as usual. Researchers like Choi and colleagues have identified the exact genes that cortisol affects. They have names like AT-rich interaction domain 5B, and it sounds like something from a sci-fi novel. But what they do is very real and very impactful to our skin. When cortisol levels rise, these genes essentially shut down your skin's collagen factory. And it gets even more interesting and concerning. Cortisol isn't content just to slow down production. It also triggers something called autophagic degradation of collagen. So imagine your skin cells literally eating their own collagen fibers. It's like having a construction crew that not only goes on strike, but starts dismantling the building they just completed. This happens through two distinct pathways. One, autophagy, which is your cell's recycling program. We talk about autophagy a lot on the Longevity Show, and it's typically a good thing in terms of anti-aging. But in this case, we're getting rid of healthy collagen. The second pathway is through the ubiquitin proteasome pathway, which is your cell's garbage disposal system. Now, understanding this science gives us powerful tools for intervention. So remember those precise ingredients we discussed? Your skin needs for optimal collagen production: vitamin C at 75 to 110 milligrams daily. Timing actually matters way more than mega dosing, and I'll talk about this later. Zinc at 9 milligrams daily. This one is important because it's not the high doses, the 50 milligrams that many supplements provide. There are some side effects and problems with too high zinc. So I urge people to minimize their supplementation if they're going to get it through a pill rather than through food. And then we need just a little bit of copper, just 15.6 to 100 micromolars. So most people don't even need to supplement that amount if you get just the trace amount through your food, for example. Knowing these numbers isn't enough. It's how we apply them that makes the difference. Here's one evidence-based daily routine that you can try for protecting your collagen. Your morning strategy includes early exercise before 10 a.m. So research shows that this helps regulate your cortisol curve, preventing that collagen-destroying chronic elevation. You'll also want strategic nutrient timing. Half of your daily vitamin C can come with breakfast, say about 40 milligrams from foods like strawberries or citrus. I love getting vitamins through food rather than supplements when possible. And also, you're going to want sun protection. Apply vitamin C before your sunscreen. And studies actually do show that this combo provides significantly better protection against those collagen-destroying enzymes. During the middle of the day, you'll want to make sure you're managing your blood sugar. So small protein snacks between meals helps prevent glycation that caramelizes your collagen levels when that A1C rises above 8.5%. You'll also want to interrupt. Brief meditation or deep breathing, even for 5 minutes, has been shown to help regulate cortisol. I know I need these between my back-to-back meetings. And then if you live in a place that's pretty sunny, you'll want to reapply sunscreen. So remember, UV damage continues for hours after exposure. So you'll want to protect yourself as the sunscreen wears off throughout the day. Some dermatologists will mention to get another dose of skin vitamin C. This is not something I recommend for everyone because it can make your skin quite raw, but you can also get it through foods. So you use a second vitamin C dose with dinner, preferably through fruit, like we mentioned, to get that total of 75 to 110 milligrams. And then again, you're going to want to do effective stress management, like breathing patterns, like 4, 7, 8 breathing. That's just the number of counts for inhaling, holding, and exhaling, or resonance breathing. This can all help lower your cortisol levels. And then, of course, sleep optimization is so important. Poor sleep can spike your cortisol and accelerate your collagen breakdown. So going back to my work as a longevity physician, I hear about skin and collagen and similar questions all the time. Recently, recently I had a patient who I'll just call Lisa, who came in for a regular checkup, and she was glowing, not just about her new skin routine either. She said, I finally broke down and tried that collagen powder everyone's talking about. And 3 months in, my skin feels different. But I know, Dr. Lynn, that you say that there might be more hype than substance. So am I imagining things? So this is really interesting. And I want to mention this because a lot of you out there probably have had similar great experiences with collagen supplements. The truth is, you're not imagining the improvements to your skin. It's actually real. But what's causing the changes perhaps isn't what you're thinking it is. I reviewed with Lisa her health diary because, I encourage everybody to be pretty diligent about recording what they're doing and the effects. And it actually turns out that there was a clear pattern to why the collagen conversation was way more nuanced. So it turns out when Lisa was starting to take her collagen supplement, she also made other changes that seemed minor at the time. She swapped her afternoon coffee for green tea. She started eating her breakfast earlier, and she happened to like berries with her yogurts. And she also was drinking more water throughout the day because that's something I encourage for my patients. And she also started taking a daily walk before her morning meetings instead of just in the late afternoon, which she used to do. None of those changes seemed super significant to her because they were just part of her new health and wellness routine. But from a scientific and medical perspective, she had inadvertently created the perfect environment for her skin's natural collagen production to thrive. It turns out that she was doing all the right things, and it wasn't just the collagen. The morning walk helps regulate cortisol patterns that we know now directly impact collagen synthesis. The berries provide vitamin C, and switching to green tea also helps because it contains some compounds that help protect existing collagen from breakdown. This happens all the time, not just in my practice, with my viewers as well, people who swear by specific collagen supplements or even other supplements. They've usually made some other changes that are not insignificant. And what we call this, of course, is the placebo effect. It's not just psychological. The changes that we make for better health are measurable in our skin and other biology. When people believe they're using an effective treatment, whether it's that $360 collagen powder or some new luxury cream, we actually see changes in the skin's molecular behavior. So to put on my scientist hat for a moment, I've never seen these types of studies discussed in beauty magazines because it's like overly complicated. People don't like writing about them. But studies do show that positive expectation can increase blood flow to the skin by up to 15%. That's more than most supplements you can buy will do for you. More blood flow means better delivery of nutrients to those collagen-producing fibroblasts that we talked about earlier. In other words, believing your skincare will work might actually help it work better. This means that expensive supplements are not necessarily the answer you need. You can try supplements, not a problem. I found that most of these aren't harmful for you. They're just overly expensive and perhaps not as efficient as just doing the evidence-backed, freer or cheaper versions of skin interventions. So this brings us to what I call the skincare paradox. Many of those people who are getting real results from their health interventions, but not for the reasons that are marketed from supplement bottles. They're experiencing benefits from the ritual of self-care, which reduces cortisol, and better hydration, because many people mix their supplements with water, and improved protein intake, which can come from collagen supplements, bone broths, although any quality protein will do. And finally, that confidence boost that comes with taking action really does affect your skin biology. It's kind of like taking a productivity supplement that actually works because it's caffeinated and you've taken it right before your work session. The results are real, but they're coming from the caffeine and the routine, not any exotic nootropics listed on the label. So now we understand that collagen supplements don't work quite the way they're marketed. Your body isn't shipping those peptides directly to your laugh lines like some kind of molecular delivery service. But this is where the story takes a fascinating turn, because what's happening to your gut might matter more for your skin than any collagen powder ever could. I remember when this knowledge clicked for me. So in medical training, we study many pathways, super complicated pathways about inflammation, neurology, so forth. And it turns out there are similarities between the intestinal barrier and the skin barrier inflammatory pathways. These aren't just similar systems, they're actually having a constant conversation. So think about it. Both your gut and your skin are barrier organs. They're your body's first line of defense against the outside world. But they don't just share a job description. They share a sophisticated communication network that scientists call the gut-skin axis. It's like discovering that your skin has been getting its maintenance instructions from the gut all along. So this is where those beneficial bacteria come into play, but not in the way that you might think. Your gut microbiome isn't just helping digest your food, it's actually orchestrating a complex symphony of signals that directly influence your skin's collagen production. So when your gut bacteria are happy and well fed, they produce compounds that act like your skin's personal bodyguards. This has nothing to do with expensive creams or supplements. The beneficial bacteria, when they're properly supported, they'll create these short chain fatty acids that travel through your bloodstream, carrying specific instructions telling your skin cells to boost your collagen production, reduce your inflammation, fight oxidative stress, and enhance your natural moisture barrier. This is where most beauty companies actually miss the mark entirely. Certain probiotic strains have been shown in clinical studies to actually protect your skin against UV damage. It's like having internal sunscreen supplements, although please don't skip your actual sunscreen. These beneficial bacteria help by reducing the expression of those matrix metalloproteinases that we talked about. Those are the collagen-eating enzymes. It also enhances collagen synthesis and improves your skin barrier function. There's a lot of complicated science here, but we have seen in studies that specific strains will increase your skin hydration, reduce your wrinkle depth. And yes, we actually can measure this in studies, improve your skin elasticity, and decrease that transepidermal water loss. So that's your skin's ability to hold on to moisture. What fascinates me the most is that when you give your gut microbiome the right support, it will cascade into a virtuous cycle of positive effects that no expensive collagen supplement could even match. It's like having millions of tiny skincare specialists working 24/7 from the inside out. And if you are confused about why your expensive probiotic isn't working, it may be the quality of the probiotic, but a lot of times it's because people don't feed that beneficial bacteria. So you also need prebiotics. You don't want to have a garden full of seeds, but forgetting to water them. Prebiotics don't have to be complicated. Just make sure you're getting 30 grams of fiber each day, preferably from different sources so your body can utilize them differently. Soluble and insoluble fiber is great for your health. The implications of this research completely transform how I and many other doctors approach skin aging. So instead of just focusing on topical treatments or collagen supplements, we need to consider how we can support this intricate gut-skin communication system. This is a paradigm shift that's both scientifically fascinating and practically empowering. I often tell people that understanding gut health is like learning a new language. At first, it seems overly complex, but once you grasp the basic principles, everything starts making sense. Let's translate the latest research that we just discussed into a practical protocol that you can try. So remember those beneficial bacteria we discussed. They're very demanding performers that need a perfect stage, props, and timing to do their best work. This brings us to one of the most fascinating paradoxes in modern skincare, why traditional bone broth often outperforms expensive collagen supplements. Let's get specific about what's happening at the molecular level when you simmer those bones. When you do so, you're extracting 3 key compounds that modern research has shown are crucial for gut and therefore skin health. First, we have glycine. Glycine is an amino acid that is your gut's security system upgrade. It does something remarkable. It actually helps regulate your intestinal immune system, like a skilled diplomat negotiating peace between your gut bacteria and your immune cells. So research shows that it increases beneficial bacteria populations, reduces the harmful bacteria, and strengthens the tight junctions between intestinal cells. Imagine reinforcing the mortar between bricks. And also, it'll protect against inflammation, particularly from something we call lipopolysaccharide injury, LPS. This is something we talk about in the topic of leaky gut, which we cover in other episodes on the Longevity Show. The second compound is glutamine. So if you imagine glycine as the security system, glutamine is your gut's construction crew. When we look at the research, we see it promotes the growth of new intestinal cells, it regulates those critical tight junction proteins, reduces cellular stress, and supports your gut's immune system by enhancing secretory immunoglobulin A production. And finally, it helps prevent bacterial overgrowth. There's such a thing as too much of a good thing. Finally, the third set of compounds are proteoglycans. These are complex molecules that act like your gut's shock absorbers. Studies show that they help reduce gut inflammation, support the production of short-chain fatty acids. Those are the beneficial compounds that tell your skin cells to boost collagen production, and they protect against mucosal damage. So this is why the morning bone broth ritual, so many of my patients and myself swear by, isn't just a trend. It's science in action. And as always, timing is everything. This is one of my evidence-based protocols that I recommend for some folks. In the morning, you'll want to have a gut skin reset. So you can start with a cup of properly prepared bone broth. If you're preparing yourself, that's slow simmered for at least 12 hours. I just buy mine. I'm way too lazy to prepare my own bone broth. Or you can try a fermented beverage like kefir or kombucha. Try to look for versions that have much less sugar because regular kombucha has a ton of extra sugar. So this timing is important because your gut barrier function peaks in the morning, making this the optimal window for absorbing those key compounds. It's like catching the express train instead of the local. If you want to boost this further, try a prebiotic power breakfast within 2 hours of waking. You'll want to include resistant starch like cooled sweet potatoes or overnight oats. And you can add the fermented foods here, like the kefir or miso, sauerkraut. And you can include colorful berries for the polyphenols. So yogurt with berries is fantastic. It's got protein, it's got some fermented ingredients, and you can add berries to it. And the polyphenols are like premium fuel for your beneficial bacteria. I also want to mention the critical timing window, which is the 8-hour eating window. So just as important as what you eat is when you eat. Research shows that keeping your eating within an 8-hour window can optimize your gut skin axis signaling system. The reason for this is because your gut needs to rest. I know the research emphasizes an 8-hour window because that's a very popular schedule, but honestly, even if you give your gut less of a rest, say 12 hours, that's fine too. Unfortunately, many people are eating late into the night and then get up and immediately eat breakfast, and they get maybe just 4 to 6 hours off of eating. I think 12 hours is a better goal to aim for. And the best way to do that is by making your dinner earlier. You don't have to cut out breakfast, although I know that's a lot easier for a lot of people, including myself. I tend to, unfortunately, skip the early breakfast, even though I know that that's a very healthy intervention. You got to work with your own schedule. If you want to optimize your prebiotic rich foods throughout the day, just remember you'll want those colorful plant foods. If you could get 30 different plants weekly, that would be optimal. That's really hard for most of us, but that would be optimal. And get regular hydration. So your gut bacteria and honestly, the rest of your body loves water. It needs water. And it really helps with that blood flow, which is helpful for both your skin health and your longevity overall. And in the evening, so that's your last meal, preferably 3 to 4 hours before your bedtime, you'll want to get some glycine-rich protein, soups, stews, or just meat. That can help. And prebiotic fiber is also really helpful. Nuts, for example, but honestly, any sorts of fiber is fantastic for you. And then magnesium, which I talk about a lot on the Longevity Show, is very helpful, not only for sleep and mood and everything else that we talk about, but magnesium-rich foods support overnight skin repair. So remember, we're not just trying to deliver collagen to your skin, we're supporting your body's entire collagen-producing ecosystem. Think of it as conducting an orchestra rather than trying to play all of the instruments yourself. Each compound plays its crucial role at exactly the right time for the whole symphony to work. So after sharing this protocol with hundreds and thousands of people, I've learned that the biggest barrier to success isn't understanding the science, even though I get that this has been kind of a technical episode. It's adapting it to your real life. I want to go over now some of the common challenges I hear about and the solutions that might help. If you're somebody with early meetings, you're not alone. This is probably the most common challenge I hear. If that 6 to 10 a.m. window for bone broth and all of those healthy prebiotic foods just isn't happening, you can have a backup plan. You can actually prep high quality bone broth in bulk or just buy it like I do and freeze it in ice cube trays. You could actually add these ice cubes to your morning coffee or tea. Yes, I know it sounds strange. And of course, adapt to what you prefer, but this actually works for some of my patients. You can also keep high quality glycine powder by your desk. As with all supplements, look for a third-party tested one, and you'll want around 3 to 5 grams per serving. What I do in my life is I just buy single pack bone broth and I actually just warm it up for 30 seconds in the microwave. And what I do is I add collagen powder to it. So yes, I've been talking a lot about how collagen might not be the most efficient thing, but I add it to my bone broth and I don't use a super expensive version. I just use one that is backed by science and includes all the ingredients that we've talked about. Mine happens to also include vitamin C in it, and it tastes really good with my bone broth. If you're somebody who travels constantly, lots of folks are just like you, and it's so hard. I totally get it. So you might want to try single-serve packets of powders that are prebiotics. This can be helpful. I'm trying a new one recently called DMN, but I'm not married to any particular supplement. I'm not endorsing any particular one. Just look for something that might be a good prebiotic for you. You can also, of course, take a prebiotic, probiotic, symbiotic pill that works for you. I've been trying out Seed lately. It's got some science behind it, but as with everything in the probiotic world, we don't have all of the data quite yet. And also, if you are working with a hotel breakfast buffet, aim for the healthy foods. So things like the berries, the not so sweet yogurts, seeds, things that have a lot of fiber. It's not going to be perfect most of the time, but that can at least feed that beneficial bacteria. If you can't stick to an 8-hour eating window because you're a shift worker or you just have an unpredictable, crazy life schedule, focus on the non-negotiables. Try to do a minimum of a 12-hour fast between your dinner and your breakfast, and front load your prebiotic foods in your first 2 meals. Finally, use that 3-hour rule before sleep, regardless of when sleep happens. So finish your last bite at least 3 hours before you sleep. If you're a slow digester, and I'm talking digester, not metabolizer, because literally my food moves through my gut more slowly than the average person. I actually aim for 4 hours when possible, because otherwise it's going to be sitting in your stomach, and that can cause sleep disruption as well as, a slew of other problems for your health and longevity. If you're a busy parent or, busy anybody, you might want to batch cook your bone broth, make prebiotic smoothie packs in the freezer. You can also buy these and make family dinner into gut health support with some simple swaps. Use sweet potatoes instead of white potato, fermented pickles on the table to snack on, that kind of a thing. And if you're an athlete, protein, of course, is even more important. It's important for everybody who cares about health and longevity. But if you are particularly active and you want to build some extra muscle, you'll want to time your protein a bit more, spread out throughout the day so that you can digest it. Protein is a little bit harder for your body to digest if you're eating massive amounts at a time. So you'll want to spread it out. And for the super athletes, you might want to also time it within 30 minutes post-workout for optimal muscle hypertrophy. You can double down on the glycine-rich foods, which will be easy if you're trying to get lots of protein. And like with anyone else, add extra prebiotic fiber on high-intensity training days. And of course, if you are budget conscious, this might all sound really intimidating, but being healthy doesn't have to be expensive. I know all the marketing out there suggests otherwise, but truly you can do a lot without a ton of money. Just focus on affordable fermented foods like making your own sauerkraut or kimchi. I've done kimchi at home. It's actually really fun and delicious. You can use cheaper cuts of meat as long as it's still high quality and lean. You can get chuck meat, for example, and use that for bone broth. They have actually collagen in the meat itself. So you don't have to go crazy and buy bone broth or to make it if you don't have a lot of space. I don't have enough space to make bone broth in my tiny Manhattan apartment. And also, if you live somewhere where it's hard to get fresh berries and plants in general, just prioritize frozen produce. They work really well. They're typically frozen right at the peak ripeness. So it's really, really good for you, even though, people sometimes think that frozen food for some reason is less good for you. And if you're still interested in supplements, here's some evidence-based criteria for evaluating what supplements to take. If you're going to get collagen supplements, and I absolutely do, I don't go for the most expensive type, I just go for the scientifically backed type. Look for specific peptide info. So pro-HIP, so PRO-HYP, and HIP-GLY, so HYP-GLY sequences are very important, as we discussed. Check for third-party testing certification. This goes for all supplements. And avoid anything with mysterious proprietary blends or unnecessary additives. It makes it sound more luxurious and awesome, but you don't need any of that. It hasn't been scientifically proven, and often additives are less good rather than more good for your health. And you can also just aim for this optimal dose range. Get, say, 2.5 to 15 grams daily. You don't have to go more than that. If you are, just stick to whole protein. Protein's great for you. You're going to need way more protein, and your body's going to be able to break that down. For probiotics, you'll want to seek strains that have been specifically studied for skin health, like L. plantarum and L. rhamnosus. These have been showing particular promise in research studies. You'll also want to verify CFU count at the end of shelf life, not at the manufacturer, and look for delayed release technology that helps it survive stomach acid. and pair it with prebiotics too. So prioritize diverse fiber sources over single ingredient products. I prefer everybody to get it through food, honestly, if you can. And start with less if you are somebody who gets some digestive upset with fiber. Everybody's going to start from a different baseline. Some people are able to digest all kinds of fibers without bloating. Some people are going to get bloating with the smallest amount of fiber. So just start with a small amount, test out what your gut can tolerate, and then increase that gradually. Also, if you're going to buy a supplement, look for products that contain both soluble and insoluble fiber, or just mix different supplements if you'd like. Remember, supplements should supplement, not replace. So they are like an insurance policy, nice to have, but not your primary strategy. At the end of the day, the most effective protocol is the one you'll actually follow. So start with one change. Perhaps it's adding fermented foods to your breakfast or adding bone broth to your routine, and build from there. Your gut bacteria are remarkably adaptable. Your skin is resilient and it can learn new tricks like growing new collagen. They need consistency more than perfection. Remember Lisa, my patient from earlier, she eventually just simplified her routine to 3 main practices: morning bone broth, a variety of plant foods throughout the day, and consistent time-restricted eating, 16-8 schedule. And a year later, her skin looks better than when she was spending hundreds on supplements every month. So sometimes the most powerful solutions are also the simplest.
Well, I must say I am a bit disappointed in her, because she's talking like as if you need to consume fiber at all, and I've heard otherwise. But all right, that's the beginning of our exploration into collagen. So we've heard some interesting points from her. I'm going to have a look at her sources. I'll have a look under that video and check those kinds of things out, what she's quoting, what she's using. We could do a deep dive on that kind of information at a later date. What I do want to do, because we started late, I'm going to run this until probably about 10:15. So we are going to go over. But before we go on to the next video, I do want to get through this next video. I've not seen these people talking at all on YouTube before, so it'll be interesting to see what they're about. But before we do that, I need to get a cup of tea. So how about we listen to this?
There's a hustle and a bustle. It's been hustling and a bustling a while, a long, long while. This town is now a city. It's a city on a town. It's concrete over beauty. How that came to be. Lights go out, but it's wide awake. I can feel it breathing. The city with a purpose, anticipating until I sleep. It can feel me breathing. It knows I'm listening. The city with a purpose, sparks of beauty occur. There's a hustle and a bustle. It's been hustling and a bustling a while, a long, long while. Lights go out, but it's wide awake. I don't feel entertained. The city with a purpose, no intention to cure me. I don't like the circus, never been, never will. The city with a purpose.
could manage what I'd allowed. I'd bitten off more than I could chew. Until I asked for help, I kept falling. Thought I was going round in circles. It was a downward spiral, relentless eyes. I'd bitten off more than I could chew. Overwhelming fear and dread, though I must face them to conquer them. I asked for help and that felt like hell. Didn't realize how much pain I was disarming. How many demons and ill will I was carrying. I'd bitten off more than I could chew. Overwhelming fear and dread, though I must face them to conquer them. To conquer them. Overwhelming fear and dread, though I must face them to conquer them. Learning my downfalls is difficult. All of them had become my normal. I'm afraid of them and relieved to have found them. As though I've bitten off more than I could chew. Overwhelming fear and dread, though I must face them to conquer them. Back from the dead, back from the dead.
Okay, I'm back, cup of tea in hand, and I'm ready for the next video on tonight's exploration of collagen. What do we really know?
In my DMs on Instagram, collagen is probably the most common thing I get asked about. Should I buy it? Is it worth it? What's the evidence?
I'm on it, I'm off it.
You're everything. I like to think of it as kind of the scaffolding and glue that keeps our body together.
Once you've lost the collagen in your skin, can you put it back?
There's other things that deplete your collagen quicker than aging. The most important one is
Women's value is very much on how youthful they look.
if you want to boost your collagen stores, the first thing I would say is
Welcome to No Appointment Necessary. I'm Cherry Healy.
and I'm Dr. Amir Khan. You can find me normally at my surgery in Bradford, but every week I am here on this podcast, No Appointment Necessary.
And you never have to miss an episode. So hit subscribe and you will be subscribed.
You certainly will. And if you haven't already, join our Facebook community group. We've got over 21,000 members. That's amazing. We love you all.
Today, we're talking about a bit of a hot topic. We're talking about collagen, but not just how it impacts your skin, but also your bones and your joints.
Yeah. Can I just say, I think in my DMs on Instagram, collagen is probably the most common thing I get asked about. Should I buy it? Is it worth it? What's the evidence? Everybody tells me to buy it. Am I missing a trick? All of that, like literally every day.
There are so many myths around collagen. I think today is going to be a goodie.
It certainly is.
Before we get started though, if you're thinking about getting into an exercise routine, we might just have the thing for you.
Yes, running is one of the best things you can do for both your physical and mental health, which is why now is the time people start thinking about marathon training.
If you've already got a ballot place for the TCS London Marathon, we've got a really, really meaningful way that you can run it by joining Team Marie Curie.
Marie Curie supports people at the end of life, whatever the illness, and they also support families and loved ones through grief.
So many people take up running after losing someone, whether it's to honour them or to help them cope. So why not join Marie Curie?
Yeah, there's no fundraising target. You get brilliant support with access to an in-person training day with a Team GB coach, a limited edition Marie Curie New Balance top, and post-race, a free massage and well-deserved drink.
It's kind of worth running the marathon just for that.
I would.
To find out more, search Marie Curie London Marathon and see how they'll support you every step of the way. This week's check-in is all about collagen.
You look very excited.
I am, because I really don't know how this is going to go.
Are you on collagen, Cherry?
I'm on it. I'm off it.
You're on everything, to be fair.
I love to try things. I'm basically a human guinea pig. What is collagen?
Right. So collagen is protein. It's the most abundant protein we have in our body. And I like to think of it as kind of the scaffolding and glue that keeps our body together. So it helps form our bones, our tendons, our muscles, our skin, our blood vessels. It's all part of the structure of our body. It's super important, but it does change as we get older.
Do we lose it as we get older, and at what rate?
So we do lose collagen as we get older. It's thought to be around 1 to 2% a year after the age of 50. However, menopause plays a big part in this, as it does in everything.
Of course it does.
I know. Well, the first 5 years of the menopause, there's a real accelerated rate of loss of collagen because estrogen stimulates collagen production. So as it drops, collagen production slows down, and that can affect your joints, your muscles, your skin. So that is why, particularly in those first few years after the menopause, women feel like they've aged quite a lot in a short period of time, but it might just be that loss of collagen that's going on there.
What about perimenopause, the 10 years before you actually stop having your periods altogether? Estrogen is depleting then. So is collagen depleting at that same time?
Not at the same rate as after the menopause, because with the perimenopause, you've still got spikes of estrogen. It's peaks and troughs, isn't it? And so collagen isn't depleting at the same rate as it would after the menopause. What's really important in this, because people, when they think about collagen, often think, well, the older I get, the less collagen I'm going to make. But actually, there's other things that deplete your collagen quicker than aging. The most important one is sunlight, UV light. When you go out in the sun, that is one of the biggest depleters of our skin collagen.
Does anyone else know that?
Yeah, that's what we should all know.
God, I talk about collagen and beauty and supplements and all sorts all day long.
And then you go and sunbathe.
I had no idea that sunlight affected your collagen.
Totally breaks it down. Smoking is another big one. So if you're smoking, why bother taking collagen supplements? Because you are smoking them all away. And age obviously is one. Genetics plays a factor as well. So all of those things combined deplete your collagen. But I would say UV sunlight and smoking are the biggest factors.
Why does UV sunlight deplete your collagen?
It breaks collagen down. So as soon as it hits your skin, it starts breaking that collagen down.
God, so SPF can protect your collagen stores.
Yeah. So think about it, right?
Wow.
So
they should write that on the bottle of
they
SPF.
should forget skin cancer. Right. It's all about collagen.
So if you want something that's pro collagen, are we back to good old SPF?
For your skin, for sure. So when UV light hits your skin and it breaks down that collagen, we worry about skin cancer. Obviously, that is the most important thing. But what it causes is wrinkles, because remember, scaffolding and glue, that is what collagen is in your skin. It keeps your skin thicker, it keeps it plumper, it keeps it moist. So without it, things start to sag and wrinkles start to show, because that scaffolding is being taken away.
Why does smoking affect collagen so much?
Because the chemicals in cigarettes in particular are, they're so harmful that they also break down collagen. So all of those things, anything that accelerates the breakdown of collagen means that the production can't keep up with that breakdown, and smoking and sunlight accelerate that breakdown.
What about what we eat and drink, like alcohol or ultra-processed foods? Do they affect collagen?
To a lesser degree, I would say. It's what you eat that can improve the production of collagen. So remember, collagen is a protein, but it's made up of amino acids. So you need the building blocks of collagen to make more collagen. So I would say having a high protein diet, chicken and fish, if you eat that, or your legumes, I love
legumes,
tofu,
lovely
tempeh,
legumes.
all those kind of vegetarian sources of protein. Make sure you're taking it with vitamin C, because collagen loves vitamin C and protein together. Yep, the two are needed.
What, like a chicken fillet and an orange?
Yeah, or a chicken fillet and some broccoli.
Well, like a spinach omelette.
Yeah, perfect.
We could do this all day.
Perfect.
Right, vitamin C and protein, they love each other.
They love each other for collagen. You also need zinc and copper. So things like nuts and seeds and shellfish as well.
Ooh. So collagen is a protein which is made up of amino acids.
Yes.
And we have that as the building blocks of our body, and we make it ourselves. Can we ingest it so that we boost it and get extra?
So this is where the nuance comes in, because that's what collagen supplements are all about, aren't they? They advertise themselves as, you eat this collagen supplement, you take this collagen supplement, you will make more collagen and you will look younger, you'll be stronger, and all your collagen problems will go away.
Yes.
That is not true. It's not true.
Is it not, though? But surely if you can eat things like protein that boost your collagen, then why do the supplements not work?
Because they promise something that they can't come through with. They promise that collagen that you take will turn into collagen in your body, and that is not a given. So when you take a collagen supplement, your body will break it down to its building blocks, its amino acids, its copper, its zinc, and all of those things.
Yeah.
But there is no guarantee then that your body will rebuild that back up into the collagen that the supplement says it will. What it might do is, I need this part of that collagen, the protein, I'm going to use it for something else because that's where your body's need is. It doesn't mean it's collagen. Remember, only 30% of your protein is collagen.
Right.
So it could use it for something else. It may use the copper and zinc for your immune system or something else in your body. There's no guarantee your body's going to use that as collagen.
But surely if you've got a really good collagen store and you're taking a collagen supplement, your body will think, it means that you've got enough for your skin and hair and good stuff.
That kind of makes sense, doesn't it? But if you've
In
got
my
a good
brain.
collagen store already, your body doesn't need to make more collagen. So it will prioritize something else that you do need those proteins for. So you might need it to make hormones, or you might need it for something else. So it's a really delicate balance. So when the problem I have with collagen supplements is the marketing behind them. They promise you the world. You will look younger. Your wrinkles will disappear. Your muscles and joints will get stronger. And that's where the problem lies. They cannot promise those things. And a lot of the studies that are done on does my skin get better with collagen are funded by the industry that's producing collagen. And they're really small, not very significant studies. However, there is a however here. So when you look at the real studies where actually the evidence is strongest for collagen supplements, there is a modest, and I mean modest, improvement in joint pain and people with osteoarthritis. So
if you want to boost your collagen stores, is it better to do it via your diet?
Absolutely. If you want to boost your collagen stores, the first thing I would say is SPF 30 to 50. Stay out the sun. Stop smoking. Yes, it's so good. Stop smoking. That's a non-negotiable. And then look at your diet. Make sure you are getting protein. Make sure you are getting zinc and copper. Make sure you are getting the gelatin that comes from animal sources. That's what you want. I'm a vegetarian.
Tell me about gelatin. What is gelatin?
So gelatin sounds gross, but it's made from hooves, skin, joints, boiling it, and then that's the product of that is gelatin essentially, but it's animal collagen.
I mean, I feel like if you eat meat and an animal has given up his life to give you sustenance, you want to be okay with all that animal.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste any of that animal.
I think that's fair. I think I'm going to keep my personal views out of it because I'm an animal rights activist and a vegetarian. But strictly speaking, as a medical professional, that is how you get collagen.
What are the benefits of bone broth that you've made at home?
So the benefits are, you know what's in it, first of all. So more so than you would from a store-bought bone broth or a supplement bone broth. It's got no additives in it. It's got no emulsifiers in it. It's got no preservatives in it. And the meat and the bones and everything that you're boiling up in that bone broth have a lot of protein in. They will have the gelatin in as well. And those are really important building blocks for your collagen. So yes, in terms of...
Hang on a minute. I just have to add here, like, I think this guy's a bit of a charlatan, to be perfectly honest. He's a vegetarian, which means that he's got a bias, even though he's saying that, like, yeah, as a professional, let's say you consume animal products, you can use this, you can use that. But he's then disregarding a lot of products on the market that are legitimately pure collagen, that have no additives or anything like that to it. So he's making too many like sweeping statements, generalizations. I have a bad feeling about this guy, but we'll listen to what he says, right? And you know, this is just the first of the exploration on collagen. What do we really know? So we can dig deeper on what he says anyway. But yeah, the charlatan alarm bell goes off with this guy with me.
Health benefits, bone broth is a good one.
If sunlight damages your collagen, but we need sunlight because of the vitamin D, how do you balance that?
So you don't need a great deal amount of sunlight for adequate vitamin D. You only need 10 or 15 minutes a day of that. But
so he's not even countering in his own needs. You hear how thick he is? Like, he's got way more melanin in his skin than she has, right? So, yeah, she only needs 20 minutes, right? And she could get away with taking that early on in the day. It doesn't have to be peak sun, right? So, you know, you get better red light exposure for your eyes at sunrise and sunset, okay? You can take in those UV rays and that can be good for your vitamin D production in your skin without depleting or destroying or breaking down any of the collagen in your skin, right? So he's not saying that, but he's also only talking about what a white person, shall we say, would need. He's not even taking into consideration his own needs, where he would need more than 20 minutes, right? And then someone with even more melanin in their skin would need even more than that. If you remember when we last covered the vitamin D versus hormone D, what do we really know exploration, we watched 3 videos and at least 2 of them talked about that, about how much more someone with more melanin in their skin would need. And there was that Dr. Berry Pierre, who said, and I misquoted him in that live stream, but I've rewatched it recently, what he said. And he says that what people call black people, right, people with the most melanin in their skin sort of thing, they need 4 to 6 times the amount that someone who one might call a white person with a lot less melanin in their skin needs, right? So let's say she needs 20 minutes. Someone with a lot of melanin in their skin would need 2, 4, 6, 8, 80 to 120 minutes, right? So an hour and 20 minutes to 2 hours of sun exposure, not 20 minutes. So he's not even taken into consideration that. It's like he's spouting a narrative or something. Honestly, really is annoying me. Anyway, let's continue with this.
Actually, when we look at the evidence in terms of SPF and vitamin D, there isn't really a correlation between people who put SPF factors 30 to 50 on of them having low vitamin D, because there's a good chance if you're putting that level of SPF on, you're out in the sun anyway. So that whatever sun you're getting, despite that, is still making vitamin D.
So SPF is still worth it. You'll get your vitamin D and you'll protect your skin.
Yeah, from all sorts of damage.
Fine. Is it true that the less collagen we have, the more wrinkles we have?
Yes, absolutely. So that collagen in your skin is keeping your skin kind of tighter, it's keeping it thicker, and it's helping with moisture as well. It's the structure behind the skin.
Once you've lost the collagen in your skin, can you put it back?
You can reduce the rate at which you lose it, and that is the diet, that's the sunlight, that's the smoking. You can't fight aging, you can't fight genetics. And then it becomes a question of, should you fight genetics and should you fight aging? Because I was speaking to one of my colleagues at work, and she was going to have fillers into her laughter line, she calls them. And I thought to myself, right, why are we trying to hide something called...
Did you hear that? He didn't give a yes or a no. He's like a politician. He's really annoying me.
Laughter lines, right? Surely that's a sign of joy and happiness. Why are we... You tell me.
Well, I think I understand why people do, because I think we've grown up in a society, and the society still remains, where women's value is very much on how youthful they look. It's very hard, and I speak for myself. It's very hard to fight against that when, you know, when the world tells you that's where your value is. Do I think it's the right thing? It's this is a very, very big one.
But I think we should talk about it.
I think for a woman, there is a sweet spot where I don't want to look 25. I'm really comfortable looking 45. I'm proud that I've made it this far. But I think that society very much has placed value on women who look younger. And so I do also understand, and I sometimes give into it, wanting to fight those signs of aging. But I think there's a happy, peaceful spot where you're doing things that make you feel good about yourself, but you also really love who you are and where you are.
Yeah.
And I think that society hasn't accepted that women have so much to offer. We are getting there, so much to offer, more than just making babies. I mean, women are magnificent, wise, intelligent, the glue for community. But I think things are moving on, and women are feeling more confident that their value lies in other areas, which is why I think women are feeling more happy to look their age.
Where I have an issue with it, and I always have, and this is why I never venture into the world of cosmetic medicine, is because I think we are, and I do believe in choice, and I understand women who want to look a certain way and they feel that's their choice and their right to do that. But I do think it re-emphasizes this idea of impossible beauty standards, which initially set by the patriarchy. But then I think women then find themselves trapped in this cycle of, well, if I don't do it and everyone else is doing it and I'm going to look completely different to everyone else, I'm going to be the odd one out. And I think that's really, really awful.
I think it depends on how it impacts that individual's mental health and life. We all want to look our best, or if you're thinking about it obsessively, or if you don't look your best and it ruins your day. That's the other side of healthy for me. But I think if you want to put makeup on, if you want to take a supplement that makes you feel good, have a treatment that makes you feel good, and it gives you a spring in your step, that I'm pro. So I think the balance, I think it's up to the individual to decide where you draw the line. But that too much is for some people, women wearing makeup is just too much. And for others, it's Botox. And for others, it's a facelift. And for others, it's too many supplements. But society needs to move on in where it puts value in women. And women need to be allowed to make their own decision without judgment. Those two things can happen together. And I think they are happening together. I think classically, there's a real shift when women hit menopausal age, especially when you stop having your periods. It's a bit like the association of, well, now I'm not reproducing. What use am I? Society has told women that. The patriarchy has told women that. I think it is hugely changing now as women are powerful in the workplace. We are speaking up. We've got a voice. We're thriving in perimenopause and after menopause. We're having our best chapters. So that revolution is happening. And I'm really proud to be part of that revolution. I think all the women in my generation are part of a magnificent, huge change that women haven't seen the likes of for a very long time. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
But I think that women still sometimes feel invisible at menopausal age. And I think whatever that woman, whatever Susan wants to do to feel good, whether it's a face treatment, whether it's brand new wardrobe, whether it's a new fitness and health regime, whether it's I know you're not a big fan of supplements, I completely understand. But for me, they're about the psychology. If that supplement makes that woman feel banging in the morning and just like, yeah, I'm going to go and fight the dragon, I'm really pro it.
I agree with almost everything you said there. I love the idea of women having this brand new lease of life after the menopause, because for so long, value has been placed on women only in their reproductive years. And once that's over, that value disappears. What I have a problem with is the vulnerability of the pressure that women feel to look younger after the menopause, obviously, let's say after 40, and then the wellness industry or the bullshit industry coming in and taking advantage of that vulnerability. And I think that's where collagen supplements lie for me.
Right.
Not because they're not giving it for joint pain. They're not. They're selling it for you will look younger. And they do not have the evidence to say that for sure. And the evidence that they cite are really poor studies which have huge competing interests, because the people funding the studies are the people selling the collagen. And so as someone who has nothing to sell, I can say hand on heart that your diet, your lifestyle in terms of sunlight and smoking will do far more for you than a collagen supplement. And if you're feeling the pressure of, I don't want to have a wrinkle, I don't want to do this, really, perhaps we need to have that discussion. Why is that the case? Because
whoa, right? I know someone with arthritis and things like that, and their doctor prescribes them a very high grade, no dodgy toxins and fillers and junk in them. It is pure collagen, and you can check the ingredients on that. You can go and check these. Like, there's a lot of products on the market that are good, and they're not advertising them as this is going to make you look beautiful forever. It is, this will help you with your joints and your bones. This guy, anyway.
It's just normal aging.
But I so get it. I so get that if someone's like, oh, this is going to, reduce your wrinkles or tighten your skin, I want that. And I don't mind that I want that.
But what if they're selling you nonsense?
That's different. That's different, because that's a waste of money. But if someone's got something really...
Not all of them are selling you nonsense. What do you mean, what if? You can't say that, aging at the age of 30 and 40 is normal, when no, it isn't. All you need to do is a lifestyle change. And that may include increasing your collagen consumption. What the fuck is he on about?
Really fab. That's I use an amazing face cream and it's really helped my skin. That is a really positive thing in my life, and it really works. I agree.
Yeah.
Evidence-based things that work, yes. Things that are snake oil, no.
Yeah.
Surely if boiled bone broth is good for us, then the supplements are the same.
The boiled bone broth is good for you, but this, again, it's same as the supplement in that you'll drink it and you'll have it and it has health benefits to it. But again, there's no guarantee it will build itself back up to collagen. I think of it a bit like the Terminator in Terminator 2. When he starts off as the bad Terminator and then melts down and then melts back up into the bad Terminator again. That is not what happens to collagen.
What kind of analogy is that, man? Collagen and bone broth, you can get some extremely good, highly nutritious, no toxic substances in them. They are literally freeze-dried bone broth, and all you have to do is add water and whip it up and neck it, right? And it's great for your gut health. It can help with healing a leaky gut. You know, if you're going through a fasting stage and you're doing an elimination diet, you can take in some bone broth to help speed up the process of healing your gut. And in that bone broth is high doses of collagen. What?
In your body, it doesn't melt back down and then melt back up to collagen again.
Right.
It melts down.
Right. So tell me what happens.
Okay. So
break it down. Drinking my drink.
Drinking your drink into your gut,
Mhm.
it gets absorbed from your gut into your bloodstream, through your liver, whatever. And then your body will break it down into its component parts.
Right.
So the different amino acids, which are the building blocks of the protein that make up collagen, and things like the copper and the zinc, because there's all different things that make
Right.
up collagen. It's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle that's been pulled apart into its pieces.
Right.
Then each piece your body will look at and think, right, do I need this to make collagen or do I need it to make something else? Actually, Cherry has a need for something else. So I will use this piece of the jigsaw puzzle to put into that picture over there and this piece over there. It doesn't mean it's going to rebuild that jigsaw puzzle to the original picture it was of.
Right. So you ingest the collagen, it goes into your body, it splits off into its different elements, and those elements go walkies wherever they're needed.
Wherever they're needed.
All right, before we carry on with this episode, can I tell you about something really special, especially if I think about moving more, getting healthier, starting marathon training?
Yeah, because exercise like running really is one of the best things you can do for your physical and mental health.
If you've got a ballot place for the TCS London Marathon, you can make that even more meaningful by running for Team Marie Curie.
Marie Curie supports people at the end of life, whatever their illness.
There's no fundraising target. You'll get brilliant support all the way. And Marie Curie really...
Right, there's no point in going through that advert because the marathon has been gone for this year. There.
So there's very limited evidence to say that ingesting collagen will improve your skin. What about bones and joints?
So as we said earlier, there is some evidence of modest benefit in joint pain. So the way I'm wording that is really important, joint pain. So it's what people report as better symptoms, not necessarily a reduction in what's going on in that joint in terms of inflammation and bone rubbing on bone, which is what arthritis is. So when we think about arthritis, we think about pain in people's joints. And what's actually happening there is a joint is where two bones meet and move usually, but they have cushioning around the surface of those two bones because we don't want the two bones rubbing against each other. So that cushioning is cartilage. And then there's also a little gap between the two bones. Now, collagen doesn't improve the cartilage. It doesn't improve the fluid production within that joint, but people report better pain symptoms. We're not quite sure why, but that's what these studies show. What happens with arthritis? Now, there's lots of different types of arthritises. The most common one is something called osteoarthritis, which most people will get as they get older. And what happens with that? It's usually the weight-bearing joints, so the knees and the hips that have pressure on them. That space between those two bones where that fluid is gets less and less, and the cartilage surfaces start rubbing on each other. And that is what causes pain. Over time, that cartilage will wear away, and then the bone starts rubbing on the bone, and that's really, really painful.
How do you prevent or slow down osteoarthritis?
That is super important. The most effective thing to do is keep to a healthy weight. So any additional weight you're carrying will put additional weight on your joints and push those two bones together. Movement really helps as well. So keeping active helps stimulate the production of fluid within that joint, that lubrication fluid. The more you move, the more fluid you produce, the more lubricated that joint is. And that reduces pain as well, which is why we often ask about morning stiffness, in joints. In joints, because when you've been asleep all night,
I'm going to sit here really quietly.
When you've been asleep all night, your joints haven't been moving, so they haven't been making that fluid, so you can get really stiff joints in the morning. Which is why, particularly with things like rheumatoid arthritis, one of the symptoms is joint stiffness in the morning. I would say the two best ways to keep your joints healthy is maintain a healthy weight and keep moving.
What is the best movement to keep those joints healthy?
any movement is good movement. So when we talk about joints, it's just keeping those joints moving and lubricated. When we're talking about the health of your bone itself. So now we're going deeper into the bone. We're moving away from the joint. So when people think about bones, they think of them as a solid structure. If you were to cut right through them, it'd be a solid structure. That is not true. It's like a lattice work, a honeycomb almost inside of there. It's very aerated. And so that is what happens with osteoporosis, which is thinning or weakening of the bones, is that the space between those bone cells gets bigger and bigger. So it's almost like an arrow.
Like a Swiss cheese
like
or an arrow.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like that inside
That's
of
for the savoury and the sweet people. That's an
Yes.
option for everyone.
So what we know about bone health is up until about the age of 30, 35, the production of your bone outstrips the loss of bone.
Right, so you're making lots, you're losing some, but you're making enough to negate it.
Yeah, that's the same with bones as well. So you're replacing old bone cells with new bone cells. That's how you maintain healthy bone. Unfortunately, and it's only after the age of 35, that process balance is lost. So you're actually losing it quicker than you're making it.
How do you keep your bones healthy after the age of 35 when you start to lose that density?
So movement is key again, but now this is where specific movements come into play, and that is load-bearing or weight-bearing exercises. So walking is good for your health in general, but it's not the exercise for bone health. You need to do something that really impacts your bone, because what happens is when you're doing high intensity or impact workout. So I'm talking about climbing stairs, perhaps hopping or skipping or doing lunges or lifting weights. Anything that moves your muscle against resistance sets off a whole cascade of events. So your muscle sends messengers called myokines to your bones saying something is moving me against resistance. Your bones have cells in them called osteocytes. Now, these are like sensors. They pick up movement, but they pick up specific types of movement. And if there is movement against resistance, they think, right, something's happening here. We need to make ourselves stronger because whatever this resistance is, if it pulls too hard, we might break. So it will send a message to your bone production cells, which are called osteoblasts, to go, right, go into overdrive, start making more bone, please. And it slows down the loss of bone and produces more bone. So the more resistance you do, the more that cascade of events takes place and the more bone you produce.
That is absolutely amazing.
It's great, isn't it? Shall I tell you something else?
Tell me everything.
And only because I like metaphors, right? So I like to think
Talking to the right girl.
Good. I like to think of our bones like trees almost. So if you planted two trees together and one tree was in a windy place and one tree, the exact same tree, was in quite a calm place, the wind, the movement of that tree stimulates that tree to grow thicker rather than taller, so it's more stable, whereas that other tree will grow taller rather than thicker, because the light is the most important thing there. It's the same for our bones. The more movement you do, the thicker your bones become. Bones and trees, we're the same.
So your muscle and your bone talk to each other
all the time.
So by moving your muscles, by lifting those weights, by doing those squats, climbing those stairs, you're activating your muscles, which is activating your bones.
Yeah.
And that is making them denser and less Swiss cheesy.
Yes.
What happens as you get older, especially as a woman, what happens to your bones if you're not consciously keeping them strong?
So estrogen plays a key part in bone density in women. Now, as estrogen levels decline in the menopause, you produce less bone cells because that estrogen is lost. And so bone loss is accelerated. So women after the menopause are at increased risk of osteoporosis. And the risk of all of that bone loss is a fracture. That is the end game, isn't it? You fall over, and it doesn't have to be a dramatic fall. You could just trip over something. And because your bones are thin and fragile, you break. And that becomes a massive issue because the older you are, the more likely that is to cause a long-term disability and even death.
once you have lost that bone density, can you get it back?
Yes. There is no age at which you cannot get your bone density back. So those strength training, movement exercise that we taught, all those messaging systems are still in place. It doesn't matter how old you are. So if you start doing, let's say you're 70, 80 years old and you think, I'm worried about osteoporosis, I'm going to start building my bones back up. Yes, please do it. Either join the gym, do some resistant work, perhaps if you like aqua aerobics, because aqua aerobics, the water is the resistance there. You're still moving against resistance, and it's quite a safe exercise to do for beginners in particular. So all of those things combined make your bones stronger. HRT is an interesting thing as well. So we use HRT strictly for the symptoms of the menopause, but there is some guidance around HRT and osteoporosis. Younger women under the age of 60 can be given HRT to reduce their risk of osteoporosis, particularly if they're high risk. So if they've got a strong family history of osteoporosis.
What about Pilates and yoga? Do they help prevent osteoporosis?
They're really important exercises because they help with balance and reduce your risk of falls. So that in itself will help with reducing your rates of fractures. There is some weight bearing and resistance involved in those gentler kind of balance type training. So that any movement is good. And the keeping your ligaments and muscles flexible, again, reduces your risk of arthritis, but reduces your risk of falls as well. So the ideal thing in terms of exercise is variety.
Right.
So 2 or 3 times strength training a week, a couple of times of this balance training. And then you do need your cardiovascular stuff as well to keep your heart healthy too. So go for that walk. It's the variety, which is what we're designed to do, right?
Yes.
And evolved to do. That's what's key to life.
So when it comes to collagen, get your SPF.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many reasons to love SPF. Here's another one.
Totally.
Don't smoke. Make sure your diet is full of protein and vitamin C and zinc and copper.
Yeah.
And do weight-bearing exercise to keep those bones strong and healthy, and make sure you're walking and running, and mix up your exercise so that your bones...
I'm not sure what they're saying about SPF, which is sun protection factor, which is something that they put into skincare products. Like, I'm yet to look into that in the vitamin D versus hormone D exploration series. So yeah, we're just observing what they're saying here, and we're going to look further into this. It's just the beginning. I'm not content with what they've said at all.
Your ligaments, your joints.
Well, most of it.
Everything staying flexible and strong.
Yeah. And all of that is evidence-based.
It's now time for Chat GP, where you get to ask our wonderful doctor any question you like.
Oh, God.
Keep them coming.
It's a bit like that Quiche Lorraine program on ITV with Dr. Killery. Ugh.
Right. I'm Kumi. I always enjoy your show.
You know what? I'm going to put this in sped up move. Can't speak. Well, I speeded up by 1.25 or something.
No, thank you. And I work as an obstetrics nurse in Japan.
Oh.
I often see...
Oh,
I know,
Japan.
I know.
Amazing.
Such far reach.
Right.
And I often see pregnant women with enlarged hemorrhoids. I also sometimes struggle with hemorrhoids myself, which can be painful or itchy. And you share tips for preventing or relieving hemorrhoids, particularly in pregnant women, or more generally for those who experience them frequently. I'm just going to tell a really quick story. I made a program called Cherry Has a Baby, and at the beginning of it, I said, it was the first documentary, one of the first ones I ever did. I said, I just don't care what happens to me as long as I don't get piles.
Oh, and did you get...
And the last scene is me going, I've got piles. So first of all, what are hemorrhoids?
Yeah.
And secondly, do cool people get them? I think we know the answer.
Yes and yes. So hemorrhoids and piles are the same thing. It's an interchangeable word, really. And they're a collection of blood vessels that have kind of just come out the bottom area, the
So nice.
area, which they should be on the inside, but they've just been pushed outwards. It's like a sack of blood vessels. And they are very itchy. They shouldn't be painful, but they can bleed. Now, the reason they happen is over time, when you've been straining to open your bowels, you're putting pressure on your rectal area, and that over time will push out these blood vessels. The reason pregnant women get them is because they've got additional pressure in their tummy from a baby. So that puts that extra pressure there.
A gigantic baby, like pressing on everything.
Anyone can get them, usually at any age, but it's mainly adults. The most important thing is to keep your stool soft. Anything that makes you push harder is going to increase your risk of hemorrhoids. So fiber. There's a trend called fiber maxing on TikTok at the moment where people are just eating loads of fiber. I'm totally behind it. Try and get, if you know, that plate of food we talked about before, half of your plate of food should be fiber.
Misinformation, but yeah, let's listen to all this nonsense.
Now, that is the best thing for hemorrhoids, just that, really. Not sitting on a hard surface for too long, not spending too long on the toilet. Lots of people take their phone to the toilets and then spend ages in the toilet. That increases your risk of hemorrhoids. So do those things, and then if you have got a hemorrhoid, you can just buy some steroid and anesthetic cream, which is a combination cream.
Oh, he's like a big pharma cook, isn't he?
From the chemist, or you can get suppositories if they're internal hemorrhoids from your GP. They don't turn into anything like cancerous or worrying. They're just a real pain in the arse.
They are a pain in the arse. The good news is they also go.
They do go.
They visit and then off they trot. So you do not have to live with them.
Yes.
Feel free to send this to anyone who disappears into the loo for 45 minutes with their phone.
So when you're on the loo with your phone and you're sitting down and you're pushing because you're evacuating your bowels, you're on your phone. You're not thinking too hard about that. So yes, you might push your poo out, but then what will happen is that you'll put just a little bit of pressure on your rectal area while you're checking your phone, because you're not holding anything in. You're just letting things out, and so that pressure for that length of time over a longer period of time, multiple trips to the toilet, increases your risk of hemorrhoids. So if you've got a man at home who goes into the toilet for half an hour, 45 minutes, and he comes out and he's complaining about hemorrhoids, you know why.
You know how when you're driving, your phone will be like, oh, don't text and drive?
Yeah.
There should be something like, don't poo and scroll.
Don't poo and scroll. And it's time to unload the dishwasher, so clean up and go.
When you're scrolling, it just comes up with a message like, you've been sitting down for a long time, Jeff.
Yeah, it's true.
Piles alert.
Piles alert. There should be a piles alert.
What about if they're itchy and uncomfortable?
Yeah, that's...
Anyone think we talk a lot of crap? Not intended.
It's a really common symptom. So the cream that you get has an anesthetic in it and a steroid, both of which will help with the itch. So it's the steroid part really that helps with the itch. So you put that on and it should settle the itch.
Do you know what my bugbear is about this area? Is that the cream that you need to buy to relieve you of the discomfort is called Anusol.
Anusol.
And it's like, why? The people who made that cream, surely it should be called something like flowers or something, anything.
I think it's one of those creams that was supposed to be prescription only, so you prescribe it as Anusol, and then they thought, actually, this you can buy this over the counter. They just didn't.
There is a gap in the market for a cream that is not called bum cream. Anyone out there wants to make a cream for pregnant women or anyone suffering from piles that's not called bum cream, go for it. We'll all be behind it.
Yes.
Very sadly, because I could talk about piles all day, we've got to wrap up this episode of No Appointment Necessary. But before we go, don't forget, if you've got a ballot place for the TCS London Marathon this year, why not join Team Marie Curie?
Yeah, I'm done. Oh, dear me. That was like, yeah, a lot of drivel. Okay. We're going to come back to this topic. We are, because we're going to have to look deeper into this. I just have sneaky suspicions about what he said. And of course, I'm starting to remember things that other experts have said that contradicts some of what he said. So this is going to be a deep dive of an exploration on collagen and what do we really know. Thank you, everyone who's been listening, lurking, knee legs, interacted. Everyone's welcome to interact in the live chat. And until our next exploration, which might not be next week, but it might be good to yourselves and be good to each other. God bless.
She's laughing with a whiteboard clear, unpacking the fresh pack of pens, never willing to accept of sin. She's loved in many channels, every gay change on nights and black blue lights. Heaven help them when she recites. Mysterious life, girl got skills. She moves in space Cakes with minimum waste and maximum joy. Makeshift desks and a cat that bites. When you see her coming, take your pills. No place for snowflakes or sensitive hearts. When sentiment is left to chance, she'll send you back to your start. We all know it, she's a smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Toast to toast, sometimes switches to crumpet, bends them to jail. Across social media, buy memberships for bail. Verse by verse, exploring the text. She reads and recites, not knowing the tongue, learning every step of the way. Melts all your memories and feeds you facts. Her zeal is like fire, but her heart is of gold. We all know it, she's a smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Smooth moderator. Toast to toast, sometimes switch to crumpet, bans them to jail. Across social media, buy memberships for bail. Smooth moderator.